Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Dan Glyde is a performance coach, speaker and NLP practitioner who runs two businesses, Positive Masculinity and Tribe Fortune. He has a very sound piece of advice when it comes to networking. No conversations, no clients. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today, Dan.
Oh, hi Liz. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. It's a privilege.
Oh, that's nice to hear. So you're a performance coach, you're a speaker, you're an NLP practitioner, but I know your background's in journalism, isn't it? So tell me something about your previous career path.
Yeah, I had a wonderful time actually, Liz. So I worked for the BBC for nearly 20 years. I started out in news and current affairs. I worked for Breakfast Telly for a while, what was then called News 24, which is now called the BBC News Channel. I found news and current affairs to be a bit depressing, especially news.
Yeah.
I'd gone into the BBC. I'd got my professional journalism qualifications. I think I'd probably been a journalist all my life, really, a storyteller, definitely. And I joined the BBC hoping I could hold the powerful to account and tell the truth, but it felt like I couldn't do that, at least not in the way I wanted to. And I just found all the death and destruction really depressing. So I gradually made my way over into sport. I went freelance for a while. I did a bit of sports news. I did that for a few years. Then I got really into digital. I loved being at the cutting edge. I helped launch the BBC Sport app, the on-demand video content, the live. I was part of the team that launched the live streaming part of what BBC Sport does, working closely with Viaplay. And then for the last few years, I was a TV director and producer, and it was a fabulous career, Liz, especially working for BBC Sport, which was for about a decade, because basically I got to watch sport and get paid. Can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, what's not to like? So what made you move away from that?
Well, I realised that it wasn't for me, Liz, so which was a really difficult realisation to come to, bearing in mind I was getting paid for watching sport, right? I loved it. I absolutely loved the job. I loved the people I worked with. I loved all the opportunities it brought me, the events I got to go to, the things I got to do. But prior to 2018, I had a mindset that didn't serve me. I had an attitude to my career and to my work which didn't really work for me. It took me so far, right? It got me into the place. It helped me to build a career. I had no boundaries. I was a big people pleaser, and I developed into that, Liz, because whilst I'm a very kind and generous person, I've never really been a people pleaser before, but I became that because I thought this was how to get ahead, right? I thought if I said yes to everything, made myself super available, that would make me valuable to the wider department, right? Actually, it did the opposite. And so with that attitude, and also with the following the ancient script of what it means to be a man, repressing and burying all my feelings and wearing stress and pressure like a badge of honor and just pushing on through, internalizing everything, never showing any vulnerabilities or weakness or admitting that we're struggling with anything or admitting we were wrong, or hated making mistakes, found that very stressful. And I was probably chronically stressed and anxious, Liz, for about half a decade, maybe more. And I had bouts of depression as well. I didn't realise that at the time. I thought this is just normal, right? This is just the stress and strains of having responsibility, having a high-powered career. And I put my career before everything, Liz. Before my marriage, before my health, before everything. And again, at the time, I wouldn't have admitted that to you. If my wife regularly did point this out to me, and I argued the toss. I said, no, I don't. I look back now and I know I did. I put it over everything. I cancelled holidays because of my career. I'd go on holiday and still be contactable and be answering work calls and emails. I was never off, Liz. I became permanently switched on, permanently stressed, regularly anxious. And from the outside, you'd have thought, this guy has got it all together. Look, drives around in a brand new car, owns his house, got a wonderful marriage, beautiful wife, lovely son, a job getting paid for watching sport. But yet I was on the brink of collapse, Liz. I had nothing left to give. I was mentally, emotionally and physically exhausted. I never did quite collapse, Liz, and I think that says a bit about my ability to endure. But just because I am able to endure it doesn't mean I should, right? So I had a big panic attack one evening, sat on my doorstep after a shift at work. And I think that was the catalyst. There was a few things that went on early in 2018, but that was the catalyst. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a heart attack. I wasn't. And it was only when I went to reach for my phone that I thought, right, a couple of deep breaths, mate. Ring yourself an ambulance. We can't have my wife or my son finding me dead on the doorstep in the morning. And the deep breaths obviously calmed me down and brought me back to a kind of stasis and a calm state. And I realised that I wasn't having a heart attack. And then I went away and found out if that was an anxiety attack, a panic attack. And that made me realise, right, something is wrong here.
Yeah.
So I had to look at what I was doing, how I was living, how I was treating my career. And then as part of that process of rebuilding myself and reconnecting with myself, and particularly with my emotional and my spiritual self, because that was a part of me I'd neglected probably for most of my adult life, I realised actually that career wasn't really what I wanted. I wanted to work directly with people. I wanted to impact lives. I wanted to improve my own health and well-being, not ruin it. And I wanted to improve the health and well-being of the planet too.
Yeah. So how did you go about changing things for yourself?
Well, it took a while, Liz. Again, I did the man thing when I realised I wanted to change and I wanted to live differently and be different and probably shift my identity. I tried to do that all by myself, probably for 18 months or so. Just you name it, I consumed it. Self-help books, podcasts, YouTube videos, tons and tons of information I took in. I learned there was a different way to live. There was a different way to look at life. There was a different way to manage myself and my well-being and my personal performance. And I tried to do it all myself for a long time. And I kept hitting blocks. I realised there were blind spots. And after a while, I then started reaching out for support, which is what kind of led me down the coaching road.
And tell me about the training that you've done in coaching.
I finished, so I eventually took voluntary redundancy from the BBC, and that was during COVID. So this was 3 years after I decided to leave, Liz, because when I decided to value myself and my relationships and my health more and to have boundaries and to say no to my employer, my career took off. So I stayed for 3 years because I got promoted twice. I was running and leading teams. I was getting all sorts of opportunities that I'd strived and pushed for all my career and always just missed out on. Eventually COVID came along, everything stopped for a while. That gave me another opportunity to really look at my life and how I was living it. The opportunity to take voluntary redundancy came. I took that. I got a really decent payout because I've been there a long time, and I used that money to reinvest in training. So even when I put in to leave, I still wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do. I knew that I could get freelance TV work because of my experience. I could be a self-employed contractor and still work for the BBC and other broadcasters, and that's what I did for a while. So the thing that really switched me on to coaching was, as part of the redundancy package that the BBC offered, they gave you a career coach, Liz, right? And I got this guy, he was called Mike Prenton, and I got to work with him for a couple of months, I think. And this guy was awesome, Liz. He was much more than a career coach. He was a proper life coach. Yeah. He challenged my thinking and my behaviour like nobody ever done before. He helped me see myself in a way I don't think I could have seen alone. He helped me to see my blind spots. He helped me to see the stories I've been telling myself that created my identity and my ways of operating, my ways of being. And working with him, that's when I thought, right, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do what this guy does, sit in front of people and change their lives, help them to shift their perspective, help them to see themselves and see the world in a way they just haven't before. So then, I spent a while researching and having a look and seeing what was out there. I ended up training with a guy out in Australia, Liz, a guy called Calvin Coyles, who's a master neurolinguistic programming practitioner and an amazing coach. So I did 2 accredited courses with him, a master's of coaching, art of coaching, then a master's of coaching, and also did neurolinguistic programming. So I'm a master practitioner in that now too. Which was amazing. And I mean, he was fabulous, just a brilliant coach, a brilliant exponent of NLP, and I learned a tremendous amount from him. And suddenly I was really excited. I had all these tools and all these things I could do to help people. Then I had the hard task of making that into a business and something I could make money out of.
Yeah. So how did you go about that? How quickly were you able to get clients for yourself?
Not quickly, Liz. So the first thing I did was I just coached everybody and everyone, anybody and everyone. So my friends, my family, anybody around me, just to sharpen my skills really and to work out exactly how I was going to do it. I kept trying to launch a business and put myself out there, but it felt like I had the handbrake on all the time. And I realised that I was afraid, Liz. So it was back to get some more coaching, right? So I went and got myself a coach. I signed up to a company called High Performing Coach. They literally were there to teach you how to make that into a business. And that's what I did. Then I found a niche. The High Performing Coach said to the coaches there, said to me, Dan, coach yourself 5 years ago. So I looked back and thought, right, who was I 5 years ago? And I realised that a big part of my problem, as I already told you, Liz, was the masculinity script that I'd been running, the way I thought men were supposed to operate in the world. I realised that was a large part of what caused me to burn out, what made me stall in my career, and that made me push my health and well-being and my marriage to the limit. So I decided that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to coach men like me, men who looked successful on the outside, but the inside didn't match. They weren't feeling it. They were probably miserable, lacking a bit of direction, possibly stressed and anxious, frustrated. They'd got all the things that society told them would make them happy, and they hadn't. The house, the car, the marriage, the kids, the all-inclusive holidays, the meals out at nice restaurants, the lovely shoes, the designer suits, the great watches. But none of that makes you happy, Liz, if you don't know why, if you don't know what it's for, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't know what you're trying to achieve, if you don't have a very clear idea of the life you want to live, the choices you want to make, the type of person you want to be. Most of us live by default, Liz. We don't live by design. And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help those sort of guys to live by design, to understand who they really were, what they really wanted to get from life, and to make that happen. And to do the internal work, Liz, because that's what it is, the work that I do. It's not surface level. It's not time management, productivity techniques and hacks and all that stuff. It's looking below the surface at the unconscious systems that drive our behaviour and our mindset, the things we can't see in our normal everyday lives. And so this is what I help people do. And so, I eventually managed to get that niche right. I eventually managed to work out how to make that into a business. It was difficult at first, Liz, because coaching is a tough sell. You can't sell coaching as a concept. Coaching is an experience. It's an environment. It's the creating of a space, and it's really hard to sell that to people who don't understand what that is. I had some early success, but once I got on LinkedIn and started finding my voice a bit and talking to people about what I did and what I offered, I got a few clients on board. I then didn't do any marketing or outreach because I was working with these clients, and then I wasn't very good at retaining clients back then either, Liz. So they disappeared, went off. Thank you very much, Dan. Yeah, we're cool. We're where we want to be now. And then tumbleweed, of course, nothing. No prospects, no conversations. Immediately employed a business coach. and got the foundations in place, the funnel, the marketing, the sales, really nailing down who I work with and what I do for them. And I had a bit of a moment, Liz. So as part of the restructuring of my life, I used to live down in Leeds and I worked in Manchester when I was at the BBC. During lockdown, my wife and I decided to bring our retirement plan forward. And the retirement plan was to go and live somewhere, well, Yorkshire was where we wanted to live, really, with a couple of acres of land, one of those old stone York cottages, keep chickens and bees and be kind of self-sufficient and sustainable. And during lockdown, we thought, what are we waiting for? Once we realised remote work had become a thing, we said, well, why don't we do that now? So, so about 6 months, I think, probably after I'd left my full-time job, maybe a bit longer than that, maybe almost a year, we moved 300 miles north to the Scottish borders. I now live up in a place called the Yarrow Valley in the hills in the Scottish borders, in the middle of nowhere. I've got 10 acres of land. I'm on a journey to self-sufficiency and sustainability. I grow my own fruit and veg. We do our own heating. The next step is to produce our own electricity. And so moving here moved me away from the TV contractor work, which was what was sustaining me whilst I was procrastinating on how to be a coach and run a business. So I moved away from that regular work. Now I had 2 gigs when I first got here that were good payers, and they also paid for my travel and accommodation. So it was work in the north of England. So I was doing that regularly, and they both suddenly disappeared almost overnight. So I was faced with a choice. Build a freelance TV producer career here in the south of Scotland, which is doable. We've got Glasgow and Edinburgh not far from me. There's plenty of TV work in this part of the world. It would have taken me 3 to 6 months to make the right contacts and get in front of the right people and demonstrate what I could do, or go full-time with the coaching, which was a frightening prospect. But actually I thought that's where I want to put my time, effort and energy right now. TV is the old me. I was doing it because it paid the bills. And that forced me, Liz. And I've always been the type of character who jumps off a cliff and then figures out the parachute on the way down. It's not always a smart way to live, Liz, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it didn't half focus my mind.
Yeah. So tell me about your business now.
So I've got 2 now, Liz. So what started off as the men's coaching business, that has morphed into a men's community. Completely by accident, really. So the business coach I told you that I employed back when I was floundering a bit, he once said to me in one of our sessions, Dan, you need to create a place where you can bring clients, former clients and prospects all together in one place. I thought, that's it. That's genius. And then procrastinated about that for 6 months, Liz. Well, how am I going to do that? What platform am I going to put them on? Is it going to be a membership? Should they be subscription? Would I give them different levels? Do I have to provide them content? And then one day out on a run, or walking the dog or in the showers when I get all my inspiration, Liz. So out on a run, I thought, WhatsApp. Just create a WhatsApp group. Yeah. It's easy. People have got it. It's free. You don't have to get them to download anything. You don't have to explain how to use it. So that's what I did. And I pulled those types of people together, clients, former clients, prospects, and some other guys in and around me and in my network. And wow, what a place that has turned into, Liz. Yeah. I think to give men a place where they can drop all the bravado and all the BS and all the posturing, where they can drop the veneer, the mask, the put-on stuff. They can drop their need to seek approval. They can drop their concerns about being belittled or judged if they're going to be vulnerable and real. And they can just be themselves. And they can say some stuff out loud they've probably never said out loud before. And they get good response to it. Yeah. And especially when I first created it after a few months, all the guys in there were like, oh, Dan, this is amazing. I thought it was just me. And that's the trouble with blokes, Liz, because we don't talk to each other about this stuff, because we don't talk to anyone about this stuff, because we're concerned about having it used against us or being belittled or being judged. We protect our vulnerabilities. We don't talk real. We talk surface level. Yeah. Because it's a protection mechanism. So to give blokes a space where they can be real, raw and honest, and they can really support each other and be positive, it's been so powerful, Liz,
Yeah.
so powerful. And then from that, I've now created what I call a mastermind. It's not a business mastermind in the traditional sense. It's a peak performance and personal growth mastermind. So it was kind of a natural extension to the WhatsApp group. So it's an hour a month, the third Tuesday of a month. It's an online call, and we come together, and like the WhatsApp group, we deal with the things that are getting in our way. We deal with the things that are stopping us from performing at our peak and from being the man we want to be. And we help and support each other to make change. You know, these are guys that are willing to be challenged. They're willing to look at themselves. They're willing to look at different ways of operating, different ways of thinking, different ways of behaving. And they're doing it together, shoulder to shoulder, with people with other men just like them, you know, successful men, driven men, ambitious men, but kind, compassionate and empathetic men as well, Liz, you know?
Yeah.
And men who know that collaboration always beats competition.
Absolutely.
So that's what we do. We collaborate, we support, I give them a forum through which they can share openly and honestly without all that fear of being judged and ridiculed.
Yeah.
And again, that's really powerful. So I've now created this little ecosystem, Liz, where I've got my WhatsApp group, which is free to join. And you know, I do coach the guys in there. It's what I do, right? So sometimes when they bring stuff to the group, I coach them a little bit. The mastermind's the same. It's not group coaching, but I do coach the guys in there. I do hold the mirror up. I do challenge them when they present with the stories they tell themselves, the justifications, the excuses, the rationale. And I also work with a few of them one-on-one. And what I've realised, Liz, when it comes to one-on-one coaching, is most people are not ready for it. Most people aren't ready to look at themselves in that way. So now I've got these great two ways of getting people warmed up, getting people used to what I do, buying into me, trusting me. You know, they come into a free group, then the next obvious step is the paid membership, the mastermind, and then the next obvious step is one-on-one work.
Yeah.
And the other business I run, so we've been going just over a year now. It's based up here in the south of Scotland. It's called Tribe Fortune, and it's a very similar audience to my men's stuff, but it's men and women. It's the people that carry all the responsibility, the ones that are under constant pressure, and it's affecting their thinking. It's affecting their performance. And they come to us in order to get that bit of clarity, to be able to operate with calm assurance, to feel like they're in control, and to understand what is just noise and what really needs their attention. Because I think that's the difficulty with modern leadership, is there is so much noise.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with information, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we've set up a business that supports those people. We call it leaders, right? But one of the things we're doing at the moment is educating people as to what that means, leaders, because a lot of people think, oh, leaders, that's the Prime Minister, that's the CEO, that's the football manager. You know, I think so many of us are leaders in so many different, if we're parents, Liz, we're leaders, right? Yeah, so we do workshops and training. The best thing that we do, and the thing that we really set up for, is we run retreats.
Yeah.
So we run retreats for those people, the business owners, leaders, entrepreneurs, founders, executives, you know, the ones who don't have anybody to support them, and they're there to support everybody else. They're the ones who are supposed to have all the answers all the time. And we help them clear away the noise so they can understand who they really are, what their identity is as a leader, and then how they can perform at their best in every area of their life.
Yeah.
And we're about to launch a group coaching program. So again, like my mastermind, this is going to be a membership and a subscription. There's going to be a bit more to it. It's going to be two 90-minute group coaching sessions per month, so one every fortnight. And it's ongoing support, that is, Liz. That's like we call it a gym for your mind. Excuse me, a gym for your mind, or a gym for your thinking. So you don't go to the gym once, do you, and expect to be fit and strong. It's ongoing, and that's what we're providing here. We're providing an environment and a space where you can be amongst like minds and amongst people that get it, but also you can be coached, so you can be challenged, you can have the mirror held up, and you know, you can bring your challenges to the group, and together we'll find a way through them. So that's really exciting as well.
Yeah. So you've clearly got great ways to build your network through your WhatsApp group and so on. Do you also go to network meetings as well? Are there other ways that you grow your network?
Yes, I do. I've got really into networking, Liz. And it's something I'd never done before. So having been an employee all my life, and particularly in an industry like television, it's a small world broadcasting.
Yeah.
So you don't need to attend networking events or be part of networks. Your network is kind of provided for you, especially when you work for an organisation like the BBC, right? They are connected to everybody across the world. So, yeah, it's something I've had to sort of find my feet with in the last couple of years. And so probably for the first 6 months, a year of running the coaching business, I didn't get out from behind my laptop. And more and more people were saying to me, Dan, need to get out, do some face-to-face networking, go and meet some new people. And I was thinking, yeah, that's definitely what I want to do. So then for about 6 months, I did everything, Liz. Every network I could find, every networking meeting. I was spending a lot of time up in Edinburgh and just trying to find what worked for me. And at first when I went, I thought it was very transactional. I thought I was going to walk into these rooms and meet clients and get business directly. Yeah. I didn't realise actually that networking is more about what happens outside the room, and it's more about creating ambassadors for what you do, referral partners and potential collaborations as much as, finding prospects and clients as well. So, now I've found 2 groups that I'm a part of 3 that I've really settled into. So there's one called Revitalise Business Club, which is based up here in Scotland. They do both online meetings and in-person meetings, which I attend. And currently I go to their in-person one in East Kilbride, and it's brilliant. It's run by a guy called Lee Foster, who's also taught me how to network properly, Liz. And I'm also a member of the local Chambers of Commerce. They've worked really hard over the last couple of years to provide a better network, provide a better support for local businesses, and what they're doing right now is really good. So I go along to their coffee mornings once a month, meet other local business owners and leaders, which is really lovely, and I'm improving my network locally now, which is great. And then the other thing I'm part of is this group called Sales Machine, Liz, and that's about rebuilding a referral pipeline. It's sales without selling. It's almost like networking on steroids, and it's really clever. It's run by a guy called Paul Nichols, and he's using it to fund his social enterprise called Crystal Kingdom, and that's the name of a book he wrote. But so the social enterprise is actually helping children with their mental health, which is just fantastic. So there I am, building a pipeline for both my businesses, building out my network, and I'm also helping to fund that, which is just fantastic. I've realised that, again, one of my old business coach's voice rings round in my head, Liz. No conversations, no clients.
Very good piece of advice, that, isn't it? So my final question, Dan, you're clearly very passionate about what you do, and I'm sure people listening will want to get in touch with you. What is the best place for them to find you?
So the best place really is LinkedIn, Liz. That's where I am most of the time. So you can find me on there. That I post 6 days a week. I regularly do lives on LinkedIn as well. I also have a website, danglidecoach.co.uk. That's positive masculinity. That's my men's stuff. Or you can go to tribefortune.com, which is the other business, and you can read about me and see about me on there. And on all 3 of those platforms, there'll be a way to contact me as well.
Lovely.
So you can get in touch. As I just said to you, no conversations, no clients. I'm always up for a conversation. I'm not here to sell you anything or convince you of anything. So I have no agenda when I'm talking to you. If there's a way I can help and support you, I will. If we're just going to have a nice chat and a cup of coffee together, then so be it. There might be some way we can collaborate. There's all sorts of reasons to have conversations. For me, they're not transactional, Liz. They're conversational. They're human to human connections. And if it so happens you want to join one of my groups or one of the programs, or you think that there's something there where I can help and support you, then that's great. I'm you know, I really want to hear from men a lot, Liz, right? I want to hear from the compassionate men who lead with integrity, who want to make the world a better place, but are feeling a bit stuck, a bit powerless, and not sure how and what they can do. Come join my group. Come and see the blokes in there. Have a conversation with them. See the way they're living their lives. See what they're doing, how they're behaving, how they're thinking, and come along and sharpen yourself up. It's free. It's free to join, and it's such an amazing place.
Yeah, what's not to like?
Exactly.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for being my guest, and best of luck with everything you're doing, Dan.
Thank you, Liz. I've really appreciate the invitation. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.